Now, if you are the kind of die-hard, relentless, 24/7, 365 football fans that your old pals Fitzy and Hart here on the Six Rings and Football Things podcast are, like so many in Pat's Nation, you cannot get enough high-quality football content and insight into how exactly the sausage is made at the NFL factory all year round. And this week, we've been given a clip that could be an indication of just how bright the future may be in Foxborough, thanks to the first ever offseason edition of Hard Knocks covering the New York Football Giants. And head coach Brian Daboll had a very special guest on the program.
72 Tundra float H angle.
Gun Dolphin right, 72 Tundra float H angle.
Yeah, so Tundra stands for what?
200s.
200s, and what does float stand for?
It's got the corner of the out. Kind of
flag.
floor.
We call it a flag, so
Okay.
I mean, we end up saying corner flag, but it's
Flag
flag.
with the
So
out,
flag,
and
and
then
the
H
angle
angle.
is an angle. You got me on that?
Easy stuff.
Then you use Rita to the right, Linda to the left. It was a flip formation. Good?
Read to the right, Linda to the left.
72, 5-man protection, slide to the will. So if the strength of the formation is right, what formation is that again?
Yeah, Gun Dolphin right.
Yeah, right. He's there. The will's over there. The line would slide there. We'd say 72 Rita.
72 Rita. Gotcha.
So let's say this before you go to the next one.
Oh, just give me all the Ritas and all the Lindas. But you can see in this clip, or hear rather on the podcast as well as we broadcast live on this What If Wednesday for July 10th, 2024, you get a feel for exactly why Brian Daboll may have been so committed to wanting to trade up to third overall to acquire the talents and services of young Drake May at quarterback. This guy might have an extremely bright future as he is both affable and knowledgeable of the inner workings of the modern NFL offense. And this doesn't even get into his physical prowess on the field, which we will see just 2 weeks from now. But we play this clip and we share this little vignette kicking off the latest What If Wednesday episode, What If Wednesday episode 6, because how Drake May's season goes, how the New England Patriots season goes, all ties, in my mind, to one particular unit on the football field, the play of the offensive line. How Drake May looks this season, and when you may actually see Drake May, maybe, in the words of Andy Hart, hinging upon this particular what-if question. What if the New England Patriots offensive line is more offensive than we thought? What if the Patriots can't get their offensive line together? What if left tackle becomes the same kind of problem it has been for the last several years since we got but that one contiguous healthy season of Trent Brown back in 2018? So that's the question today on the floor on the latest What If Wednesday here on Six Rings and Football Things. What if the Patriots got a real problem, Andy, on the offensive line this season?
So in our first handful of these what ifs, it's been like, what if Bill Parcells stayed? What if Bill Belichick stayed? What if Tom Brady stayed? These like real true what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
Today's feels like, what if the sun comes up tomorrow? Because I think there's a really good shot that the offensive line's a problem. But what if it happens? What if it comes to fruition? What if Chucky Okorafor can't play left tackle?
What are we going with, by the way? Are we going with Chucks? Are we going with Chucky? Are we going to go with because the full name, I've got to be honest, is we may hear Jim Nantz struggle through that.
I struggle with it, and I struggle every time I have to type it, which is even worse. I get like red squiggly lines and then like have to figure out what vowel is missing or what I doubled up on. So yeah, that's a problem. Well, that may only be a temporary problem. If he loses his job like he did last year in Pittsburgh, it won't be an issue anymore. But no, I think this could be, we talk about the term fatal flaws in football. To me, this could be a fatal flaw, but not just in terms of winning football games. I think that may be secondary to, you could see careers of three guys. I'll just throw three, start with three because there's more. I think the careers of Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, and Drake May could all be derailed if this offensive line blows. And that's oh, Andy, you're such a freaking exaggeration. Glad you play radio. Hey, hyperbole much.
I can't believe I am here. I stand this topic. I stand this take. I stand the entire idea that it all hinges upon the offensive line this year,
which is so not hot take talk radio in a way, because we spend so much time on, I've said it, the NFL is just about the quarterback position. Football at all levels, you got to have the quarterback. And I still believe that. But if the quarterback can't do his job, it all falls apart. And like Alex Van Pelt, you can only scheme up so much. If your offensive line can't block, if your offensive line can't give the quarterback time, if your offensive, like a year ago, like we blame Ramondre Stevenson for having a not great season a year ago. I think a lot of that was a byproduct of he had zero trust in his line, was trying to do too much early in the year, was like looking for holes, trying to figure out how I'm going to turn this chicken you-know-what into some chicken salad for 3 yards. And it just
go back to
failed.
2022. I mean, Matt, like this has been an issue for years. I know they tried to address it by drafting Isaiah Wynn years ago. Like
Didn't work.
It didn't work. Trent Brown gave you Trenton Brown. Now Cincinnati Bengal legend Trenton Brown gave you the one good season in 2018. He leaves. They go with Wynn. That doesn't work. Brown comes back. It's been a swinging door. It hasn't been the turnstile that it's been on a number of teams, but it's been an issue for a long time. We spent all of last season, or rather all of last offseason, begging them to please address the left tackle issue and the line on the whole. We called the right tackle battle the hobo rumble or the bum fight. That wasn't solved until halfway through the season. They kicked Mike Onwenu out there to right tackle. We don't even know if he's going to be the right tackle this year. Is it going to be Caden Wallace? Will it be Onwenu? Where's he going to play? There are way too many questions. Like yesterday on the podcast, or rather Tuesday, should I say, the most recent Six Rings podcast.
Be a freaking pro.
We did. Wait, can knock it off.
Don't timestamp it.
Timestamp this.
We're actually 6 minutes and 55 seconds into this.
So, yes, it is 9:14 in the morning on Wednesday. How is everybody doing? Good. Check the
Say hello to our affiliates throughout New England.
traffic and weather together on the 22s coming up. So, like, it's so difficult to imagine that the offensive line doesn't determine when Drake May plays and exactly what happens this season on the offense as well. Like yesterday, we talked about safety. Like we don't love the idea on the most recent pod. We don't love the idea that we don't know who the free safety is just yet. Okay. But that's going to probably work itself out over the course of the season. And they have a lot of strength and redundancy at strong safety, some good corners, etc. The defense, no one's really worried about. Even our friends on Patriots Unfiltered discussed your most recent column on Tuesday, July 9th. And they said, yeah, it's just sort of making off-season talk, but we all can agree the defense is going to be good. We think they have upgraded at receiver. We think the backs are pretty solid. Tight end, you've got a dependable veteran, and then we'll see what's going on with Hunter Henry. The receivers might actually be, oh my God, did Fitzy say this? The Homer, the Foxborough fanboy? The receiving core might actually be good. But how are you supposed to know what kind of quarterback Drake May is going to be? How are you supposed to see if Ramondre Stevenson is worth 4 years and $36 million? How are you supposed to see how this wide receiving core is going to develop? How can you see, Andy, what kind of offense Alex Van Pelt is going to run? And if Stevenson and Gibson can turn into Chubb and Hunt 2.0, if you don't get consistent quality line play, and there are, save for David Andrews at center, questions galore all over the place, and most notably left tackle.
So Vincent, not Brisby or Brown, says has to be better than last year. Has to be for coaching and depth reasons. Has to. I don't know if that's an opinion or him trying to convince himself because
both.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be better. I think there's every bit the possibility it could be worse. Happy birthday.
It needs to be better. It needs to be better.
Yeah, but
happy birthday.
Like coaching, I don't know anything. Like Scott Peters is suddenly like Dante Scarnecchia 2.0. I don't know. We'll see. I hope he's better. I hope he does.
Let's also point this out. In 2022, you had ready for this. You had Matt Patricia, the former defensive coordinator, and previous Detroit Lions head coach, reverse engineering the offense while also being general manager of the team and the offensive line coach. So you think he was a little taxed in and over his head? Certainly was. And who was it? Billy Yates was his assistant line coach. And he ended up having to take the line over midseason because Matt Patricia was in over his head and the offense was a mess and Mac Jones was pouting. And oh my God, what an absolute disaster. Somehow still they finished 8-9 and should have made the playoffs. Last year, they bring in Adrian Clem. He's unhappy. Billy O'Brien's unhappy. Mac Jones is getting worse and regressing further than we could have imagined. Dysfunction was the new normal at Gillette Stadium and all throughout the Patriots. Clem gets health issues halfway through the season. They haven't even had a good line coach in the last couple of years, let alone the talent.
Wait a minute. You just described how last season ended. You didn't describe how last season began. Last season was supposed to be better. They handed Adrian Clem more than $1 million or whatever to be their O-line coach. Oh, he's perfect. He has ties to Dante Scarnecchia. He's played in the system. He's coached in college. He's coached, who did he coach? Mafi at the college level. He's coached some of the young guys. Like it was, and he's going to be working under Bill O'Brien, who has been there, done that here, everywhere. Like it was nothing but optimism till the wheels fell off. I am less optimistic about this year's preseason look at the offensive line than I was a year ago. I had more optimism about the line a year ago, and that's me as a Trent Brown hater. I wanted to cut Trent Brown. Vincent checks in again. It was both. He's trying to convince himself, but he's trying to believe it too. I was more optimistic about the line, even not liking Trent Brown a year ago, than I am this year. I think this is a bad situation that could be worse than we even think it could be, with Okorafor, who is the hand-picked Elliott Wolf. He's going to be our left tackle. He told us before the draft. He's been the left tackle in OTAs and minicamp. He lost his right tackle job in Pittsburgh a year ago. He's not a left tackle by trade.
They've had money to spend all offseason. They continue to have money. Now we've got several people in our chat that are watching live via Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc., as we broadcast across the Fitzy GFY and WEEI socials, recording the latest Six Rings and Football Things What If Wednesday episode. Mark DeZolio says trade Judon for picks. Maybe a contender will want him. Then maybe try to get David Bakhtiari. Valone Kings says their idea is a quick trade idea. Again, Matt Judon for Jack Conklin and a 4th-round pick. May as well get rid of him if we aren't planning to re-sign him. Would you trade, Andy, if you could, for sure, lock up the left tackle position for at least the year, if not maybe 2 years, which is what we'd been hoping they would do. That's why we wanted them to pursue Jets left tackle, played with the Cowboys.
Smith.
What's a Tyron Smith thing? It's been a while since I mentioned his name. Congratulations to him and Bailey Zappi on getting married recently. Good job, guys.
What do those two guys have in common? Neither will be on the Patriots this year.
I was going to say, not much sex, arguing over dinner. Who knows? Oh, come on. Yeah, that's the reason. It wasn't that Tyron Smith was ultimately the answer, but I just wanted a semi-dependable or at least quality veteran to step in. And I know Tyron Smith has missed a ton of games, but just someone hold down the fort and then teach a rookie how to play the position. And instead now we've got a converted right tackle that was deposed of his job a year and a half ago in Pittsburgh, taking over left tackle for the Pats. I mean, all the weaponizing of the offense, the pick of Drake May, everything that Elliott Wolf has done in that very calm, cool, medical demeanor this offseason could come undone if the line is a mess.
When the line is a mess. You keep saying if. I know this is What If Wednesday. We might need to change it to What Happens When Wednesday. What happens Wednesday?
Yes.
I just, there is the desperation is clear in like the options, not Conklin necessarily, but the fact that Tyron Smith, who's been nothing but injured, people wanted to pay him, and I was sort of in that boat. You had, desperation. You kind of have to go for it. Bakhtiari, I believe, has played 13 games combined in the last 3 years, missing most of 2 of those 3 seasons after being healthy early in his career. We talked about it yesterday. I'm not a big believer you get healthier and more durable and accountable and available as your career goes on when you start to trend in that direction. But that desperation, that's the desperation. Like, you have nothing, and you don't even really have long shots. I mean, maybe one of these guys will step up. If Okorafor is not the guy, their hand-chosen guy. We've already seen Caden Wallace be moved to right tackle where he played in college, so I'm not sure they still believe he can be a left tackle, which is the narrative they tried to sell us on after the draft. Calvin Anderson, dealt with the illness. I don't know his career trajectory. Even forgetting the illness, I mean, the guy seems like a borderline starter, competitive. Like, I'm not even sure if
he seems like a backup. I don't even know if he's going to be as good as half of the backup tackles the Patriots have had the last 10 plus years.
Like Vidarian, I'm going to be nice and call him Low and not add a B to his last name because he's not been good.
He was super ungood last year.
Super ungood.
Some would say
he blowed.
Yeah. But what about Tyrone Wheatley Jr.? Is he like, did
if
we
you
just
made me pick a name? Maybe I'd pick, and I'm talking about like a lottery ticket, a scratch off ticket type name. maybe I would pick him. And the other thing is, if it were just left tackle, that'd be bad because it's the most important position. But it's not just left tackle, like the unknown of what the rest of the line will be. No disrespect. I love David Andrews. Happy birthday to him. I believe I just saw on Twitter that it's his birthday. That's great. He's enjoying some fishing and doing some things this offseason. Love him. Mean it. What if he gets banged up? I don't know who's playing guard. Cole Strange is hurt. That's another blown first-round pick of Belichick, it looks like, on the line.
But Cole Strange not playing may actually be something the Patriots line has going for them this year.
Also probably saves him from the fate of potential being a big-name cut, because I don't know if he has a long future in Foxborough. But there's other questions along the line. Like, let's just say what we've seen. They had this guy, Leverett, the veteran
Nick Leverett.
He's been getting reps, but then he kind of seemingly lost reps. So maybe that plan has already been derailed a little bit. There's also been this idea that they're just going to play their best 5 guys, even if they don't really fit positionally, which on the surface, I like. Play your best 5 guys, but I don't know if that leads to the best 5 performance in terms of zone blocking and some of the things that Alex Van Pelt wants to do. So we're fixating on left tackle as we should, because that is the premier spot. That is the keystone or whatever. But the issues could go further to guard and other spots across the line, where the other issue is the Belichick theory of, sure, maybe you put your best 5 out there, but if they're all in the wrong position, that may not be good. Like, you may have 5 decent athletes, 3 of whom are out of position, who aren't really comfortable playing the position they're in. And that's not a good and the other issue is we're having this starting point. We're on what is today?
Today is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024.
So we're having this question on July 10th. Guys are going to get hurt. It's very rare on the offensive line you make it through without losing 1 or 2 starters along the way. Let me tell you worst case scenario. What if they lose David Andrews and Mike Onwenu to injury?
Oh, so it could actually get worse?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It could get significantly worse, because I think those 2 guys, I feel confident, will be competitive to good if they play, no matter where they play almost. That's 3 other spots that are wide open, and if 1 or 2 of those guys go down, well, then Scott Peters better be not the second coming of Dante, but the second coming of God himself.
All right, so let's take a look at what we think. Let's go ahead and make our predictions now for what is going to be the starting 5 come September 8th, 2024. 1 in the P, out in Cincinnati, out in the natty, as we like to call it, as Stiz Grimy likes to call it. What is their ballpark now? Is it sponsored?
First of all, it's not a ballpark.
Stadium. No, Great American Ballpark is right next to.
Right, but that's where the
baseball
team plays.
That's where the baseball team
Reds play.
Yes.
De La Cruz.
Yes.
Not Butto.
Yes. First-time All-Star, Ellie De La Cruz. So it's September 8th, 1 o'clock. What is the starting offensive line the Patriots
Paul Brown
trot
Stadium?
out?
Don't they still call it Paul Brown Stadium?
I think it actually may be.
And then the field might be named?
It's nice.
It's very nice.
No, it is now known as Paycor Stadium, Paycor, Paycor, named after Jacob Paycor, the inventor of the Get a Sandwich. That's a lie. It's Paycor is like some company that handles your internal accounting.
Yes.
All right, so Brad Sohn, watching live on the X platform, says you have Okorafor and Wallace as your tackles, So and Onwenu at guards, David Andrews at center. I am inclined to think that is more probable than not, to use triggering Patriots parlance. That is more probable than not your starting offensive line. I think they really want this to work out with Caden Wallace, but that's an awful. So if that's the line, Andy, you have a guy who's only played like 1 or 2 snaps in the pros at left tackle. You have a rookie at right tackle. And then you're now paying Mike Onwenu $19 million not to kick out to right tackle, where he's been so good 2 separate times in 2 separate seasons when they so desperately needed him out there. But you're paying him $19 million a season to go back into guard.
As Brad pointed out, I do think the zone blocking transition is an issue. Now, to be fair, they knew they were going to be a zone blocking team when they paid, and absolutely Nick's right. If the Celtics starting 5 is the best starting 5 in town, then
Al, Tatum, Brown, Holiday, and White, rock solid. Thank you very much, Nick's Coins.
then this that we are speaking of is the worst starting five in town. But yeah, like Mike Onwenu is a power blocking right tackle, can get by, can do it. Can he be a zone blocking right tackle? And maybe that's why we already saw that transition in mini camp, him bumping into right guard and putting Wallace over at right tackle. And they think is athletic enough to play left tackle. So is an athlete at right tackle.
But was he blocked from playing left tackle in college because Fashanu was just so damn good, or was it because he's not fit for left tackle?
I'm going to say it again, the way I said it draft night when we did this podcast. You're going to tell me, who's one of my favorite follows on Instagram, by the way. I don't even know what his name is, but you're going to tell me guy that he's been doing things wrong for 40 years and he watches these videos of like life hacks. You're going to tell me that the NFL has about 13 good left tackles in the entire league, 32 cities, and Penn State had 2 left tackles on its collegiate roster? No, I don't buy that. I believe he's a right tackle because he's a right tackle, and the other guy was a left tackle.
Had you just drafted Michael Penix, then you could have kept Mike Onwenu at right tackle, which would have been the new left tackle, and then everything would have been just fine and dandy. But that didn't work out, did it?
And then you'd have a bad quarterback and no future. At least we have a good quarterback in a future as we started.
Yeah, okay. You could see Brian Daboll just like licking his chops like a dog looking for the bowl to be dropped on the floor, or me before a good burger and a cold beer, Andy. But my God, you're not going to get a chance to see. Drake May is going to have to showcase not just his ability to process information and work, adorably hand in hand with a head coach, but rather he's going to have to showcase his feet, his speed, and his improvisational ability if this line is once again the Andy Hart copyright 2024 House of Cards that you called it years ago.
The other thing is the what if aspect of this. What if the offensive line is as bad or worse than we think it's going to be? Well, then I will guarantee you in the top 33 picks of next year's draft, the Patriots will select a left tackle and a wide receiver in some order. Whether they get the left tackle at number 1 overall, actually, they'll probably trade down because some team will want a quarterback. But you get the point. They're going to have one in 33.
Which I'm fine with. And by the way, just as a note, currently taking a look at the top 10 free agents available as of early July 2024. Actually, Andy, a number of issues on the New England Patriots could potentially be addressed with the money that they have left as to how the free agent market goes. David Bakhtiari, offensive tackle, like you said, only 13 games from 2021 to 2023. Underwent knee surgery last October. May not be the all-pro he was before. Does have systemic familiarity with how Elliott Wolf does things. Jamal Adams, F that guy, he sucks. Connor Williams, he's a center. Steph Gilmore, cornerback, if they're looking for a veteran cornerback who maybe wants to play free safety. Emmanuel Ogbah, he's actually pretty good. Ryan Tannehill, yeesh. Michael Thomas can't guard Mike. Well, all right, Slant King. Justin Simmons at safety, still available. That's a surprise. Adoree Jackson at cornerback and Carl Lawson, edge rusher. So they're
going to go get a tackle in camp. If this goes poorly, which it probably will on the left side, they will probably be doing what they did last year. Who was it last year? It was Wheatley and somebody else that they acquired.
They traded they quickly saw how bad it was. And my God, I've even actually already forgotten his name. I think it was so bad. They went and got Vidarian Lowe, and then they got Tyrone Wheatley Jr. like within a couple days of each other.
And they will do that again.
Riley Reef was not healthy. That was an absolute mess.
They will do that again, and it will also not solidify anything because
why? It was all it's
because I don't know if you've noticed, if you want good offensive linemen, you either take them in the top half of the first round or you hand them somewhere in the range of $60 to $100 million, right? Like it's become a massive premium invested position. And we talked about this, if you didn't fill it in the draft, you didn't fill it in free agent. Like you only had so many assets. Now they could have spent more in free agency. They chose not to overpay. I think that's sort of a nod to this is a multi-year rebuild as they see it. And that left tackle could come early in the draft next year. A Bengals like double dip here where maybe it's not Jamar Chase that makes Joe Burrow great and Drake May maybe doesn't get the elite receiver. Maybe he gets the elite offensive lineman. But I think they are looking at this as a multi-year restocking of the cupboard with elite talent and overpaying a premium for an offensive lineman would have just sort of been a long-term regrettable move.
All right, I'll put this on the scroll right here on screen. This comes from Sharp Football. Here are your best remaining available free agents at left tackle, if only the thing that we pay money for would actually work. Your best remaining left tackle free agents: Donovan Smith, David Bakhtiari, DJ Humphries, Jason Peters, Charles Leno, Billy Turner, Cameron Irvin, Dwayne Brown, Riley Reif, and Connor McDermott.
Ooh,
Yeah.
A couple of those are former Patriots.
I was going to say, familiar much?
There's not a lot that excites me there. Obviously, I just.
Who was the one that was who was it? Was it Jonah Williams? That was the guy that was available from the Bengals, right?
Jonah Williams was one of them, and there was another.
Williams?
There was another you could have invested.
He went to the Arizona Cardinals, a team that has invested consistently, by the way, in their offensive line. They've actually had quality line play. Maybe one of the reasons why Kyler Murray, though he is an absolute water bug who moves like he's got a joystick controlling him when he's on the field, but they've invested heavily in their line, helped out last year, probably going to help him out this year. Another team that's invested heavily in their line, a team that people look toward, Andy, maybe as a beacon of hope or a goal for the New England Patriots 2024, the Houston Texans. We got a rookie quarterback. We got a rookie defensive-minded head coach. Yeah, you know what the Houston Texans had going into last season? A really good offensive line.
Yes, and you don't. And that's the difference, or one of the differences in the people that hope you have the CJ Stroud plan. But again, I'm more on the Joe Burrow plan, which, yes, don't remind me it involves
Drake May getting hurt injury. No, yes.
At some point.
Please.
I mean, I agree with Pete the Animal Austin. If you said you have to go that route, like the sky is falling, Donovan Smith is the guy that I would take and just say he can play the position. We'll see what level I get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
The injuries to Bakhtiari, I don't see that being worth it, as Mark DiZoglio says.
Yeah, he says that the word is that Bakhtiari, yes, veteran presence, wants to play with a contender. Hence why he's probably sitting out rehabbing, trying to stay in shape as well. Look, he's great on a jumbotron, loves to chug beers. I'm surprised the Jets didn't take a chance on him as opposed to Tyron Smith, since Tyron Smith hasn't played more than 13 games and Lord knows how long in a professional NFL season, since Bakhtiari and Rodgers get along so well. But I guess there's only so many former Packers you can bring in to sate the appetite of Captain Ayahuasca down in New Jersey.
So, rank for me. So we do a lot of radio, more in the fall, once the Red Sox are done, although Red Sox looking like they're trying to extend their season a little bit into our Rich Keefe show weeks.
Fine by me.
Will we be spending more time in November and December?
Oh, okay.
Talking about the offensive line or the quarterback?
We will spend more time. I think we'll spend more time talking about the quarterback.
See, I think
we will be banging the drum.
Let's go Red Sox.
Yeah, Nick's Coins, by the way, is yeah, see, we got a lot of people saying in the chat they think Bakhtiari is totally done. Yeah, he would probably have a job if he were completely healthy right now.
Toast.
Remember, okay, Nick's Coins actually does, instead of just saying let's go Sox or Celtics, we'll be talking about the quarterback. I agree, because it'll either be we will be assessing the play of Drake May now that the rookie has usurped Jacoby Brissett and taken over as QB1 of the NEP, or we will be banging the drum like, come on, you can clearly see we need more athleticism out there. The kid's going to have to learn trial by fire style. Put him in, blah, blah, blah. As opposed to, come on, Wolf, we told you all off season we needed a better left tackle. We needed a proven commodity. You are doing Alex Van Pelt, Gerard Mayo, and Drake May / Jacoby Brissett a disservice with this piss-poor offensive line. I think we'll be talking more quarterback at that point, though offensive line could be a backup topic.
I think we're going to be talking a lot of offensive line, and I think it's going to piss a lot of people off because there's going to be some stragglers of the Mac Jones club that are like, whoa. So they suck, and now it's the line's fault? How come it wasn't the line's fault for Mac? And I think because I think a lot of people are going to give Drake May the benefit of the doubt. They still like the idea of him. He was the number 3 overall pick. So I think it's going to derail the season. I do. I think it's one of the fatal flaws of this team is the offensive line.
On the record, 2 weeks before camp starts, the season has been derailed. It is off the tracks. It is just laying in smoke and wreckage on the side of the forest.
I told you they're going to pick 1st and 33rd.
Oh my God, that's awful. Yeah, see, Pete the Animal Austin, he's a regular here at the old Six Rings party. I'm a former lineman. I'll tell you, the game is won in the trenches. You're not wrong, Pete.
You, Andy Gresh, and John Hanna can sit in a bar and talk about it.
Bunch of hogs that make bottles of blood look like Coronitas between their fingers.
I think
he's not wrong.
We're going to start draft talk again in November, and we're going to be talking about who are the best left tackles in college football. Is there a tackle worthy of a top 5 pick in college football?
All right, it is my duty and or job, if you will, and I'm supposed to do it if I'm here, to ask this question then. What if Okorafor is what if Okorafor is actually decent?
Miracles do happen.
I mean, there's a chance. I'm telling you, there's a chance. We can't just live in all negativity. We're not just going to Felgerize the whole damn thing.
It's awesome, and we can talk about hopefully Drake May and Ramondre Stevenson and Alex Van Pelt and assess other areas of the offense, the development, the scheme, and still say, Okorafor, we love you, mean it, but we're still looking for a long-term left tackle. We'll still draft one. But no, I think it would be a coup, a massive positive for this team, because it would allow us to then put our attention elsewhere. They'll be more competitive. They'll be, we can think about other things. Because I do think, like, when you say fatal flaw, it's like, you watch those engineering shows and an entire building or an entire machine falls apart because of one little, not to, the classic example, sadly, is
one
the
little O-ring. Yes.
Yeah. That cost lives and like changed the space program forever. The O-ring on
changed the course of a lot of American history. Yeah.
Right.
So
the O-ring on this team is the left tackle spot.
Hold on a second, Nick's Coins. We are not going to be talking about Tom Brady and his commentary. No one could be worth. Yes, we'll be talking about Tom Brady in a positive light. Tom Brady's going to be
talk about
great.
his statue. That's the only time I'm talking about Tom Brady. Otherwise, go F himself.
Wow, jeez.
What?
See, yeah, I don't know if you should take 10-day vacations, because there's two. You don't expel all of the. Yeah, you should take shorter vacations so that way you can maintain the muscle or the habit and ritual, because you come back and there's just too much like Andy Hart at once. Like slow roll that action.
That's kind of true. It's kind of like, remember when you asked Dante about me and he was like, he's always ready to pop off about somebody, or I forgot how he described it exactly. Like when you kind of hold that in for 10 days, it's just got to go.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Now they agree with you. Jeez.
Let's go.
I need too many of these people. This is like the other night when I was at dinner and there was one wasp that I swatted at, and then he brought back 50 friends and we had to finish dinner inside, and I've had a swollen ear and foot.
What do you have against Protestants?
All right. I see where you went with that one, you son of a. All right. So anyway, there we are. This is the latest What If Wednesday here on Six Rings and Football Things. I think we can all agree that the way this season goes, sure, you could say it's how Gerard Mayo operates as head coach. Is he ready and up to the task? I think he'll be fine-ish. It kind of almost in a lot of ways may not entirely be in his hands, because they're going to put a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of Alex Van Pelt, and a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of DeMarcus Covington and Scott Peters as well, who, as we've detailed today, has his work cut out for him. All of the assistants, all of the coaches, all of the coordinators, I think they'll be mostly just fine. Drake May, we have a lot of faith in him once he gets the job as well. We would like to see him sooner than later, but we don't want to get him busted up, destroyed, or broken, which is what could happen if the line is an issue. Maybe Okorafor works out. Maybe So and Mafi take a second-year leap. Maybe Layden Wallace. Excuse me. No, it's Caden Wallace, Layden Robinson.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about him at all. Like,
he's
early fourth-round pick. He's a big dude. Looks like he's got a nasty streak about him. Any shot he actually makes a positive impact. What if he gets his ass in there? Next thing you know, you got guys like him, and you got So. I would love that. I would love to see the biggest, baddest line possible.
I don't rule him out as a starter. There's a couple issues. He is a big, powerful guy, and I would question again on Wenu and him at guard. Would you be too big, too heavy-footed, whatever? But I know Jim Nagy talked about they drafted him the draft pick they used on him says they see him as an early career starter, like should start relatively
top
soon.
of the fourth.
So,
Yeah, top of the fourth rank. You already had 2 350-pound guards from last year.
Right.
Why'd you go get another one? They
So-
identified that's a wolf guy.
I think there's a chance he plays sooner rather than later. I do. So I would, yes, he's definitely worthy of being added to this discussion, but on the interior.
Okay, so there's one of those like football guys to keep your eye on in the trenches as camp starts 2 weeks from now.
Johnson, and everybody likes a Big Johnson. What?
Again, like you can't cancel something that is actually just recorded of our own volition and distributed on our timeline and frame. Like we're not currently on the air. There is no worry about Safe Harbor or FCC.
Yeah.
Just always like
It is what it is. That's not my bed.
Wow, Brad Sohn must have followed you from Patriots Unfiltered. Hey Andy, is David Andrews still playing at a high school level? Wow.
No, at a high level. You added school. Wow, Freudian slip by Fitzy. High level.
Oh, whoops, my bad.
Wow, that
Oh,
tells
man.
you what Fitzy thinks. Fitzy
I
thinks
liked
Andrews sucks now.
All right.
He just said it. That was
Let's
a
go ahead
Freudian
and scrub that. Let's go ahead and scrub that from
a Fitzian slip there. The true honesty came out. The
Fitzian
fanboy
slip.
went away.
I love David Andrews.
Stuff started getting real.
I got to host a party with him at Vitamin C coming up sometime soon.
Oh, that's
too.
going to be awkward when you say he plays like a high schooler.
Okay, once again, is Andrews still playing at a high level? Jeez, see what it was? You know what it was? I was so on board the whole like, oh, here's Andy, you people out there. And in fact, it actually was that he's playing at a high level.
He's
I feel like he's in his 30s and has to be concerned. Yes.
Absolutely. That's
And
what I
also
said
he's
earlier,
taken a
like,
bunch of it like from the
he-
lungs to a
love
couple
him,
concussions.
mean it.
Yes.
I
taking his
think he's
knocks.
not at it. He's not at his heights anymore. He's not at his highest level. For this line, is he still pretty good? Yeah. Comparing him to the rest of the options throughout the 5-man unit. But he's not what he was at his peak. No.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. I got to get an oil changed.
We are. Okay, so he is still grumpy, even though he took vacation. That's Andy Hart. And of course, right here, there we go. We'll adjust that for everyone. I need more sleep. I am Nick Fitzy Stevens. Thank you very much for tuning in to the latest Six Rings and Football Things. It's been a What If Wednesday. What if the offensive line is actually good? What if the offensive line is a problem? Which way are you guys going with this? We'll see which way the line. There are one thing I'll say: there are options galore. They do have options galore. How good those options are, Andy, at left tackle, right tackle, the guard, and center spots, we will soon see. Brad, thank you very much. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you, Pete the Animal Austin, and everyone who has made Six Rings and Football Things a regular part of their Patriots programming in season, off season, and beyond. We'll be here for you whenever we get a chance. And yes, Nick's Coins, we will check out your channel.
By it, what do you mean? Because I don't know.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what I'd rather actually see Pennywise the Clown than perhaps the it that you may be showing off on your channel. For Hart, for Terp, for Fitzy, and everyone involved in this mess, this has been the latest Six Rings and Football Things brought to you by WEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports. Andy and I will be with you Thursday, July 11th from 2 to 6 p.m. with Christian Arcan on the afternoon program on WEI, as well as Saturday from 12 to 3 in the P. Take care, everybody. Good day. God bless. Woe be the Patriots offensive line. And as always, go Pats.